A very good evening to all of you who are watching this program. This is Kritya International Poetry Festival 2021, and welcome everybody to listen to this stellar lineup of wonderful poets that we have out here. Before I get into poetry and all, I do not want to bore you with all those things. Instead, you should listen to their wonderful poem. So, may I take the honor? It's my privilege to invite those wonderful poets to the stage. First, I'd like to invite Professor K. Srilatha. She is an English poet from India.
Hi.
Welcome, ma'am. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, I'd like
Um,
to welcome Hamidreza Shekarsari from Iran.
He will come. You invite other.
We have Avtar Mota, a Kashmiri writer and poet. Namaste, welcome. We have Savita Singh, a bilingual poet writing from India. Welcome, ma'am. Eldar Akhadov from Azerbaijan. Anil Boro, writing in Boro language from Assam, India. Vijay Rajimalika, a bilingual transgender poet from Kerala, India. And Mita Das, poet and translator, will be reading out translations in Hindi. And I also take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Rati Saxena, our spine, a wonderful energy behind this entire Kritya festival. I welcome you too, ma'am.
Namaskar. I welcome you in Kritya 2021, an international poetry festival. मैं आप सबका कृत्या 2021 में अंतर्राष्ट्रीय काव्य सम्मेलन में स्वागत करती हूँ. This festival is the 15th festival in a row of international festival which we have started in 2005 with the guidance of Papanikar, a great Indian poet. And was the only nomadic poetry festival. We were moving around in the state, in the country, like we have gone to Jammu and Kashmir, then Punjab, Kerala, and then Mysore, Nagpur, Wardha, etc. This is also a poetic therapeutic poetry festival where we do not sit on the stage and read poetry, but we go to orphanage, films for old age homes, uh, and we go to hospitals, we go to prisons, we go to different places to the people who are deprived from the international poetry. So this is a different kind of platform. This pandemic time, we use this platform as a therapy. And 2020, we have one poetry festival. And after that, we have one poetry festival for Central American countries poetry, which is very strong because they want to bring back their poetry for languages. So they were the colonies for a long time, so they came back with their poetry in the languages, Mayan languages, and all. Then we have 75 Kritya talks in which we talk to eminent poets, writers, eminent filmmakers, dancers, musicians, singers, historians, and many others. So that is how the Kritya is a different kind of journey. and I welcome you on this platform. Thank you very much. Thank you, Babita. It's over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the lovely introduction to Kritya. Now we go straight into poems. The first poet we have here is none other than Professor K. Srilatha. She's a poet and fiction writer, and she's professor in English in IIT Chennai. And her poetry collections are The Unmistakable Presence of Absent Humans, Bookmarking the Oasis, Writing Octopus, Arriving Shortly, and Sea Blue Child. Her novel, Table for Four, was much reputed, and it was shortlisted for the Man Asian Literary Prize. And she's the editor of many anthologies and a wonderful poet. So let's listen in to her poetry now. Over to
Thank
you,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good evening, namaste and vanakkam. Many thanks to Ratiji, to the Kritya team for dreaming up this festival, and to Babita for hosting us so kindly this evening. I am truly honored to be part of this wonderful evening with such an exciting lineup of poets, very accomplished, writing in a variety of languages. This poetry festival is special for me because, like everyone else out here, I think in more than one language. Mine is a multilingual imagination. That's the place from which my own poetry springs. Since I'm also a translator, I have always shied away from having the mother tongue or an Indian language. I've never shied away from having that travel into my English poems. Yeah, because I think I believe that to tell yourself that you can or that you should only write in English and that English only means that a particular kind of English is to set yourself up for failure as a poet. So it's important to write from all of ourselves, from our linguistic diversity. And I'm really, really happy and honored to be part of this beautiful festival. So, of the three poems I was invited to read today, the first is called, perhaps quite appropriately, a poem in my mother tongue. This is from my collection, The Unmistakable Presence of Absent Humans. A poem in my mother tongue. When I moved out, I left behind an aquarium. In it, a fish, mad and solitary, swimming the entire line of a poem in my mother tongue. A poem I'm still fishing for, miles away and out in the stinging rain. My next poem is titled It is 1966, and this is after Agha Shahid Ali's A Lost Memory of Delhi. It is 1966. I'm not born. My father knocks on the door of a house I have never seen. There at the door stands my mother, slender, a sprig of jasmine in her hair. I take a taxi to the park, where they are sitting on a bench, a foot apart from each other. He with his face resolutely averted, she with her eyes on the poorly tended flowers. It's the beginning, I know, of that great quarrel. My mother, no longer a new bride, the edge of her sari, already a grieving afterthought. She doesn't see me, she sees only the crumble of her years. I am to hold forever the grating harshness of it all. I walk up older already than them both. Tell them I am their only daughter. And will they please, please look at each other the way they had the day he had knocked on the door and she had let him in, jasmine in her hair. My mother looks at the flowers, the crumble of her years. My father, away from us both. The next poem I'll read is called Looking for Light, Sunbirds. This has a little epigraph from Hafiz of Shiraz, which goes, I wish I could show you, when you're lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. Looking for light, sunbirds. Looking for light, sunbirds hop on hopeful, spindly legs. I'm no different. The same distaste of darkness, and at dusk, the same torment of light fading. Often, the only light to be had is desperate and feeble, too deep to access. My body, a vanishing sun from which I must rescue that one sweet ray or remain forever bereft. Thank you so much.
Shekarsari from Iran. He is an excellent poet and critic of contemporary Iran. He started writing poems in 1983, and now he's supervisor of literature in department in Kharavaran's Culture Center, Tehran. He writes and publishes his articles and poems in most newspapers, and he'd been translated all over the world. Some of his books are Unreasonable Lightning, The Sun Under Clouds, Something Drives the Compasses Crazy, Rain Flick, The Figures of Grave, etc. Sir, may I now invite you to recite your poems?
Hello, you have my voice? You have my voice? In the name of God. Can you listen my voice?
Yes, of course we can hear your voice, sir. Please do recite your poems.
I wish peace and health for all of the world. I am happy to reading my poems for my friends. Can I read my poems?
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
First poem. میتوان جای شکلات در جیب کودکی بمب ریخت. میتوان جای نامه به پای کبوتر بمب بست. میتوان جای مردگان در تابوت بمب گذاشت. من از کودکان، از کبوتران، حتی از مردگان میترسم.
The translation of this poem goes thus. Instead of chocolate in the packet of a child, you can plant a bomb. Instead of letters in the feet of a pigeon, you can plant a bomb. Instead of a corpse in the coffin, you can plant a bomb. I'm afraid of children, pigeons, and also the dead.
And second point. انسان‌های نخستین برای گفتن دوستت دارم فقط باید یکدیگر را می‌بوسیدند. انسان‌های نخستین برای گفتن دوستت دارم فقط باید یکدیگر را می‌بوسیدند. ما هزاران سال دیر به دنیا آمدیم.
This poem is translated by Ms. Rati Saxena and shall be read by Mita. Mita, ma'am.
ये रति सक्सेना जी ने अनुदित किया है, पढ़ मैं रही हूँ। आदि मानव ने यह कहने के लिए मैं तुमसे प्रेम करता हूँ, केवल एक दूसरे का चुंबन लिया और हजारों साल बाद हम पैदा हुए।
Thank you. And third poem. از تیترهای بزرگ بیزارم، تیترهایی که روزنامه ها را در دستهای تو آتش میزنند. برایم خبری کوچک بخوان، برایم خبری کوچک بخوان، خبر باران ساده ای که خواهد بارید و دلمان را خنک خواهد کرد.
This beautiful poem goes thus. I hate the big headlines, the headlines which burns newspaper in your hands. Read me a small news, the news of simple rain that makes a heart cool. Next
Thank
poem,
you.
please. Thank you.
تظاهرات دست جمعی، زندانهای دست جمعی، اعدامهای دست جمعی، گورهای دست جمعی، ما هرگز همدیگر را تنها نمیگذاریم.
Mita ji, please read the translation.
यह ट्रांसलेशन रति सक्सेना जी ने किया है, मैं पढ़ रही हूँ। समूह में विद्रोह प्रदर्शन, समूहों में विद्रोह प्रदर्शन, समूह में कैद, समूह में दंड, समूह में कब्रें, हम एक दूसरे का साथ कभी नहीं छोड़ते, हम एक दूसरे का साथ कभी नहीं छोड़ते।
Thank you very much, Mita ji. Next poem,
And
please.
last poem. Last poem. در خشابت شکلات بریز و به آن مدرسه شلیک کن. در خشابت گل بریز و به آن خانه سالمندان شلیک کن. با خشابی پر از آرام بخش به آن بیمارستان و با خشابی پر از کلمه به آن کتابخانه شلیک کن. خشابت را از چه پر کرده ای حالا که مرا نشانه رفته ای.
The translation goes thus. Put chocolate in your gun's load and shoot the school. Put a flower in your gun's load and shoot the home for the aged. With a load full of sedative, shoot the hospital. And with a load full of word, shoot the library. What have you filled your gun's load? Now you're aiming at me. So this was a translation. And thank you, Hamidreza, for those poems really sounded so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Next we have Avtar ji. So Avtar Krishan Mota. He is from Kashmir. I'm privileged to read out his biography. He retired as a chief manager from Public Sector Bank. He writes poetry and short stories in Hindi, Urdu, and Kashmiri. And he's written about 250 articles in various journals and magazines abroad and within the country. And many of these articles are on art and culture. Now he's having a few books on the pipeline about art and culture of Kashmir. And let us now listen into him. Sir, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Good evening. In Kashmiri, we say two words when we greet each other. Urzu and Dorkot. Urzu means good health, and Dorkot means may your knees be strong so that you keep going. I'll read my first poem. The title of the poem in Kashmiri is Sani Jalawatni Hundo. I will read the English translation subsequently. Dazwini Gajjut Pandul Darit Yeli Krak Gai He Nar Hanar Pat Pat Puch Margat Saya Asi Pat Wucho Tat Maos War Dus Hat Bei Kavuj Asnaos Dazwun Os Shamshanan Nar Shan Garen Hundos Yun Gasuna Tobudan Hundos Bazar Nethnon Tosu Kadlutetis Pet Badsharaz Supalan Har दां कुछ मचमस शोभ गर दिवता गुल मूरान दम फिट लाचार अस्तान च दशवुच नालन मज छट डेरस पेट वुच दस्तार बड़ कुठ वुच सिरनेव किन तमिदो आंगन पच बरनेन हुन नार ठोकुर कुठ गई क्रख कस त्रवित काव पचन पेट थो लक्षार सोमरित हावस बर गई नीरित अख लोग लार तो अख लोग दार गटकारस मन जूरोट मचमज बश हो द्युत शिनबालस्तार. Now I'll read the English translation. Before I read the translation, I would like to explain briefly 3-4 terms that I have used in the poem. Gar Devta was a popular concept in Kashmir. We believed that every house was protected by omnipresent invisible Devta or God, who according to the legend would always be supportive of the positive endeavors of the family. Number 2 is Sultan Zainul Abidin, or fondly remembered as Badshah, the great king by Kashmiris, was the most loved and adored king of Kashmir. Third is cowpot. Cowpot is a place for keeping food for birds. Early in the morning when we cook, we keep something for the birds on the cowpot, or a shelf for crows. Thokurkut is the puja room of Kashmiri Pandits that had idols, sacred books. And fourth is every Kashmiri Pandit and a Muslim, they had Danput. Danput means a place for storing paddy after the harvest. So I'll read the translation in English. The day of our exile. This is the point. Throwing a pitcher of water over it, we doused the kitchen fires. When cries of fire, fire spread all around. The death shadow kept trailing us on paths, and fright came in our way even to look back. But for the guffaws of the crematorium caretakers, a smoky silence prevailed all over, while endless burned the fires in the cremation grounds. Hectic remained the activity of the corpse bathers, and brisk the business of coffin bazaar. Naked they dragged him down the bridge, he who happened to be our protector, our beloved Sultan Zainul Abidin. Shocked, dumb and helpless, the Gardivta, or the Lord of House, hid himself in a big earthen container in the paddy store. In the filthy drains outside were thrown the sacred strings of our faith, hung in the shrines. And on the heaps of dust lay the headgears of our elders. From the chinks of the windows of the sitting room, we saw fires blazing in the wooden fencing of our courtyard. From the puja rooms, the idols cried, "In whose care are you leaving us?" And those sweet memories of childhood we placed on the shelf meant for offering freshly cooked kitchen food to the birds. Asked not about those desires, held close to the heart. Away went one in this direction, while the other moved in that. Holding our lives in these palms and crying with pangs of hunger, we crossed the snowy mountains in total darkness. Now my second poem in Kashmiri, it's a small poem, is Har. Har means defeat. Bargomut Nethnon Nanvor, Lobkun Praran Or Nayor, Vaktan Chat Kornas Chikchav, He Kasrosh, the Kaskari Grav, Samian Dopnas Dod Mabav, Atmas Nieran Temsun Nav, Wine Nirit Gai Pratka Nav, Wine Kus Gos to Wine Kus Grav, Wine Mat Wintav, Prar to Prar, But Gai Khali, Kus Ditar. The English translation of this poem goes like this: the defeat, an outsider, naked and barefooted, waiting aside, neither with this group nor with that. And within him, time subdued every hope and all flamboyance. O friend, what for and to whom should he complain now? This time put a restraint upon us to express our suffering, as the name of our tormentor also appears in this painful story. Now there is neither any complaint nor any ill feeling either. Every boat that would carry us across has departed. Don't keep telling, wait, you wait a little more. The river banks are deserted. Who will ferry us across? My third point is Soin Kath, our story. I will read it in Kashmiri and then in English translation. Pat pat phi is chai tuavas. Darin perthe tapas havas. Varas joyeli was heravkin. Yendru dosas gai mismar. Lal ter balas reshtro tsrar. What waras mas thapithas dohkot. Khonvat khodkhon boin muhulkot. Fakdunis pet zuna dabakher. Akdo logat jam jam nar. Sura ambaras sinfel tsar. Before I read the translation of this poem, I have to explain two things. Laleshwari is well-known 14th century saint poetess of Kashmir. Through her verses, she preached brotherhood and tolerance apart from illuminating knowledge of Kashmir's Shiv Darshana. She is held in highest esteem by Hindus and Muslims of Kashmir. Her verses are known as Waqs. She belonged to Pampur, a town on the outskirts of Srinagar city. Number two is Sheikh Nuruddin, also known as Nundrush. He was the tallest saint of Kashmir's Rishi order. He lived a very simple life and preached brotherhood. He was an admirer of Laleshwari. He is held in highest esteem by Kashmiris across the religious divide. His verses composed by Nundresh are known as Shuks. His ziyarat is held in village Sar in Kashmir. He lived during the rule of Sultan Zainul Abdin, a tolerant ruler of Kashmir. I will read the English translation of this poem. Our story. We kept chasing the shadows and the wind. During sunshine, these unfulfilled desires we hung on the windows. When the heavy torrent gushed down the stairs within the dwelling, the frail mud wall got washed away. And then Laleshwari moved across the hills and the Rishi, abundant Srar drowned. Rishi is Nundrush or Sheikh Nuruddin. Dragging and pulling in this upheaval, the day was somehow spent. At times, we did perform miracles, digging a well with the elbow or passing a wooden pestle through the chinar tree trunk. A palace we erected on water bubble, and then one day that all engulfing fire turned it into ash. From the heap of that ash, we are now told to look for the charcoal pieces. Thank you. Namaste. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Avtarji. There was a lot of history and culture in these poems. Thank you so much. Now we have Eldar Akhadov. He was born in Baku in 1960, and he is the author of 60 books of poetry and prose. He is laureate of the State Literary Prize of the Governor, and then he was also laureate of the National Prize of
Babita,
Silver. Yes.
Elder has some net problem. Can please call, invite Savita.
All right. Sorry about that. Elder has a net problem. So we'll call the next poet, and she is none other than Savita Singh, a bilingual poet from India. And Savita Singh is professor and director, School of Gender and Development, Indira Gandhi National Open University. And she's published poetry in many acclaimed journals all over the world. And her poetry collections are Apne Jaise Jeevan, Neem Thi or Raat Thi, and she won the Raza Award in 2005. She's also written so many short stories, and now she is thinking of meditative and explorative prose manuscripts. I welcome Savita ji, and we are eagerly waiting to listen to your poems.
Savita, you have unmute. You have mute yourself. Please, you have mute yourself. Please don't you mute yourself.
All right. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, please, please.
Yeah. So what I had just begun saying is that thank you, Babita, and thank you, Ratiji. And Rati Saxena, a poet, a fiction writer, translator, herself quite accomplished. And by now she must be bored with all the praise that has been showered upon her. but I still want to put in at least one or two words to say how wonderful it feels to be reading my poems with poets from Iran, from uh, other places in the world, and listening to uh, the real voice of poetry. Here in India, actually, Srilatha was saying that we are uh, ontologically multilingual poets and writers. And I would say, I would add that as multilingual poets and writers, we flourish in the world, in this world of poetry in a unique manner. We bring in many kinds of voices and sensibilities which make our poetry more real than real, if I can say that. Today, I'm going to read two of my poems in Hindi because basically I write in Hindi and I write in English as well. So I will read two poems in Hindi and Medha Singh's translation into English. And then, if I have time, I'll read two more poems in English. So the first poem in translation by Medha Singh. She sets out one day. How trees finish shedding after a time is how a snake shrugs off its scales. Similarly, the spirit unclothes a previous being. Easily the sad soul she rid herself of the old touch. Of the body itself, all had renewed swiftly. No guilt, no regret, none sprang. She dried her long hair for a long while in the sun one day. One day she set out, passing through mustard fields, all the way up till the old lake. Upon returning, she sang her favorite song for hours. She continued on reading Mahadevi. One day on another, she went to meet her mother and to meet several others she hadn't the chance to in a while. One night, returning late after the evening show, having eaten a meal made of quotidian things, she made herself a cup of Darjeeling tea. Until dawn, she heard the singing of Kundan Lal Sehgal of Malka Pukhraj. A body was content after such a long time. A body was content after such a long time and with the premonition of total contentment. In Hindi, एक दिन वह सैर पर निकली. एक समय बाद जैसे पेड़ गिरा देते हों अपने पत्ते, सांप अपने केचुल, मन गिरा देता है अपनी ही एक स्थिति, आत्मा दुख. सहज ही वैसे गिरा दिया उसने एक स्पर्श शरीर से. नया नया सा फिर सब कुछ हो गया, कहीं कोई ग्लानि या क्षोभ नहीं उपजा. एक दिन फिर उसने सुखाए अपने लंबे बाल धूप में देर तक. एक दिन वह सैर पर निकली. सरसों के पीले खेतों से होती हुई वह गई पुराने तालाब तक. लौट कर गाती रही अपने पसंदीदा गीत घंटों. बरामदे में अकेली बैठकर एक दिन वह पढ़ती रही महादेवी को. एक दिन माँ से मिलने गई. एक दिन माँ से मिलने गई, मिली उन तमाम लोगों से जिनसे मिलने की अब तक फुर्सत नहीं मिली. एक दिन वह रात देर से लौटी, देखकर कोई लेट शो, खाकर बाहरी खाना, बनाई अपने लिए एक कप दार्जिलिंग चाय. सुनती रही सुबह तक कुंदन लाल सहगल और मलका पुखराज को. बहुत दिनों बाद एक शरीर सुखी था मन को भी इसका आभास. The second poem is called Blue World. By now you must be knowing that I call myself feminist poet, and there are colors and feelings and shades and everything I work out to show the authenticity of a feminine world, of feminine consciousness. Blue is my chosen color, it's a feminine color. And this poem is dedicated to this color, which is my color. Blue world. It's a bit dark, totally quiet. Now it's snow Now all silken threads scatter about, twisting up in the blue world of dreams. Nothing is tidy, organized, not even a poem. Yet I read on this dark, yet I trade on this dark, quietly awake, believing those silken striations float and language that becomes mute in my silence. All of it, it's mine. A test tube of darkness, a thick cerulean depth for the floor of my being. It's dark yet, and I walk on, sleep under my arm. The Hindi is नीला संसार. अभी थोड़ा अंधेरा है, भाषा में भी सन्नाटा है अभी बिखरे पड़े हैं रेशम के सारे धागे, सपनों के नीले संसार में ऐठे. अभी कुछ भी व्यवस्थित नहीं, कविता भी नहीं. मैं चल रही हूँ लेकिन इसी अंधेरे में जागी चुपचाप समझती कि जो नीले रेशमी डोरे तैर रहे हैं और जो भाषा सन्न है मेरी ही चुप से, वो सब कुछ मेरा ही है. एक परख नली मेरे अंधकार की, एक गहरी नीली खाई मेरे होने की. अभी थोड़ा अंधेरा है और मैं चल रही हूँ लिए नींद बगल में. Savita, do I have more time?
Yeah.
Okay. So I read the third poem called Mirror Laughter. Reflection as laughter, she had preserved it upon her lips, where the gods saw their own faces and where stars, torrential, numerous, descended to witness their own darkness. A mirror where a flower once poured all its pain, where a woman left behind her nudity. It was on that laugh the moon bled its light. For a long time the breeze wiped it for hours, the rain, monsoon, and its various attempts to wash the laugh, yet all this that gathered inside her remained as it was. Perhaps one more poem?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It's called Night Sprawl. When the night lies asprawl from this corner to that, and the thorny champa is casting her fragrance, and what remains of the residue of loving floats all around, some moisture still in the air. Let's see who is to rise as waves, with all the noise ringing within them, to become quiet, disguise their gashes. Let me see who accompanies me at this time of the day, in the temptation of this solitude when the night finally disrobes. And slumber thirst. Ever hear the breath of that wind within which the thirst of life swells? As a girl on her feet in some dingy quietude, has anyone seen that thick blue darkness changing its shade upon the moist kiss of a dream? Thank you.
Thank you, Savita ji. You've taken us into the lovely depths of your poems. Thank you so much. Now we have Kumar Boro. He's head and professor of folklore research department in Guwahati University. He's written many poetry collections and he was awarded Sahitya Academy Award in 2013. His books on folk literature of the Bodos and history of Bodo literature are all quite famous and in syllabus. Sir, shall I invite you to please read your poems?
Thank you for inviting me. Good evening, all the esteemed poets and friends from different parts of the world and different cities of India. So first, I would like to read, I'll read 3 poems. First, I'll read in my own language, and then English translation. So I begin with the first poem titled Badari Simang. Moन्नानै गोमायो बादारि सिमां बहा थांनो बहा थाखोमानो गावदां हर खावसे सोरां नों आरो आं दा गावदां हर दा दान सोरां अर मोन्ना गोमायो बहा थाखोमायो बादारि सिमां. The English translation is a lumberjack dream. A lumberjack dream. Found and lost, a lumberjack dream. Where do you go? Where do you hide your face? In the moonlit night, all moonshine, for half the night, burning bright. Found and lost, a lumberjack dream. Where is hidden the lumberjack dream? The second poem. The second poem in Boro, in my language, is Nongsir Zebla Angni Gamisim Fuyu. Nongsir Zebla Angni Gamisim Fuyu. Angko Logo Homne Dabogar. Hagrama Serni Srai Srai. Desa Barnanai Angni Gami. Owani Saikong Barbana Ruhur Hugoi Kantalni Bari. Maigong Taigong. Bibar Pitai. Zerebu Zerebu Usifaunai. Nongsir Zebla Angni Gamisim Fuyu. दैज्लांनि हाब्रुखौ दागि बेयाव आदैफा हान्थुफा हाब्रुआव माइ गायदों आसारि मोनसारि सिख्लामोनहा दुमदाम हाल एवदों लावगा गायदां सेंग्रामोनहा जोंनि गामिनि दुब्लि बारियाव दैज्लांनि खुरैसे बिदै लोंफैनो दाबाव नांगोल जांख्रानि समायना सिख्लाफोरनि मद मद आदै हाब्रुनि गाब गानाय मोज्लाय जानसिनि फेलेंगि मेगननि मेहेरनाय नायफैनो दाबाव आंनि दैज्लांनि दुब्लि बारियाव नोंसोर जेब्ला आंनि गामिसिम फैयो आंखौ लोगो हमनो दाबावगार राजा लामा सेरनि सनाथि आबादनि थिलियाव आंखौ मोनगोन मेथाइ रोजाब रोजाब माइ हानाय दुबगां थेबगां सेंग्रामोनजों दुन्दियाजों देनाय ना बाथोन आरो लाफा मैद्रु जानोब्ला आगोननि दुब्लि बारियाव फैनो दाबावगार लोगो राजा लामा सेरनि दुब्लि बारियाव जोंनि सनाथि आबादनि फोथार नोंसोर जेब्ला जोंनि गामियाव फैयो आंखौ लोगो हमनो दाबावगार मागो अखाफोरनि खेराइसालियावनो आंखौ लोगो मोनगोन खामनि फ्रिं दाफिं सिफुंनि सिउ सिउ जथानि थिंथ' थिंजों मोसाफानाय दौदिनि आरो सिबियारि रायजों आंखौ मोसाफादों सिजौ गुदि खांख्लानि लारि अननि आलिनि सेराव जरा जरा फाथालि बेयावनो खोनागोन नों आंनि गामिनि बावसोम आरज रोजाबथाय नोंसोर जेब्ला आंनि गामिसिम फैयो आंखौ लोगो हमनो दाबावगार फाख्रि दंफां सेरनि गोजाम न'आनो आंनि मावग्रा थिलि खुदियाफोरजों बिमाराव सोलोंनो दाजाब दानख'नि गुदि खोथा सोलोंनो जिउनि गोजों मेथाइ फावदुर खावलायाव गुंग्राय हुगार हुगार फोरलायाव लिरनो सोलोङो जिउनि गिबिसिन नेवथा गब्लं जिब्लं इन्जुराव बोनो सोलोङो जिउनि सावगारि जोंनि गामिसिम फैनो दाबावगार लोगो हाजो हायेननि सेरफाङाव जोंखोल साननि खुदुमनायजों मोदानफबनाय जोंनि गामि दावराव दावसिनि गोजानाव सुबुंथिनि खोथियाथिलि. Now the English translation. If you ever come to my village, don't forget to meet me. Just across the rivulet and the bamboo foot bridge is the lush green areca nut and jackfruit grove and the orchard of mellow fruits and fragrant blossoms. If you ever come to my village, don't be scared of the rainy season's mud. Here the damsels plant salicrop, wading knee-deep through mud. The plowmen plow the virgin field. Don't forget to share the bowl of rice beer on Nangal Jankra Day. The ripe and flabby feet of the damsels smeared with mud and the twinkle of their dear eyes. There, they walk and sing the hymns of rain-drenched land and life's calling. If you ever come to my village, do never forget to meet me. There, on the paddy field, by the roadside, I walk and sing the festive song with the reapers. If you want to taste the basil fish and green coriander leaves and a dish of boiled lafamidru, come to the golden field in the month of Agan. There, by the roadside, beckons the golden field of my dear village. Do never miss meeting me. Do never miss meeting me in the Karaisali of our village, in the full moon night, in the month of Magh, with the beats of the kham and the tune of sifung, the rhythm of jota, dances the Daudini, followed by the devotees in a circle there among the devotees. You will find me if you ever come to my village. Do never miss meeting me. The old house under the people tree is my workplace. To learn my mother tongue with the kids, to acquire the basics of addition and subtraction, to acquire the music of life's illumination. There, weeping their makas of their noses, they learn how to dot the sleds with the first table of their life on the half-broken walls of their school. Do never forget to come to my village, oh my friend. They are at the crossroads of the hills and plains, deserts, with the blissful kiss of the sun, my dear little village, far, far away from the madding crowd. There becomes the last home for humanity.
Thank you
So
so
the
much,
last,
Anilji. Actually,
yeah,
we are short of time. We've
time
already
is over.
passed
Okay, okay, okay,
7
okay.
minutes. Sorry about that. And now we have Vijay Rajimalika. She's a bilingual transgender poet. She's an activist and a teacher. She has many collections of poetry and award to her credit. Her important works are Devathinte Magal, Annadi, Mallika Vasandam, Aanalla Pennalla Kanmani, that's an intersex lullaby, A Word to Mother, Pennayavulude Kavithagal. And she has also won many awards to her credit. Now I invite Vijay Rajimalika to entertain us with her poems.
Hello, this is Vijay Rajimalika from India. I'm a transgender poet. Hope this is audible to everyone. Today, I'm so much proud to be a part of this program. I will start with my English poem. This is Dad is a Bride. Once Dad left, legs of the chair grew frail. Whoever sat on it fell down. As Dad turned up as a bride, I didn't know how to address Dad or Mom. Neighbor told to call us aunt. Mom asked to forget the chapter. Is it mandatory that a wife should be a woman? I don't know. Please tell me. Second poem, Ardhanari. Ardhanarishwara is praised in the applauses of completeness. Ardhanari is dished into the swamps of incompleteness. Deva gleams, humans are burned. Justice hang on somewhere in between. Will life succeed if reborn as God? Can we to sleep with sweet dreams at night? There is one more English poem. This is Leaving World. A single look is enough to know if the baby is male or female, said the doctor. Stop this rubbish and use your sense. Is this living world confined only to male and female? And I've got another poem. This is, in fact, a poem in Malayalam. I haven't translated this into English. The poem goes like this. Urlangalle. സസ്തനികൾ ആടുന്നു, മത്സ്യങ്ങൾ ചിറകടിച്ച് നീന്തുന്നു, പക്ഷി മൃഗാദികൾ പാടുന്നു, മരങ്ങൾ ചില്ലകൾ നീട്ടി ചിരിക്കുന്നു, പാപം മനുഷ്യരോ ഇടകലർന്ന ലിംഗത്തിന്റെ പേരിൽ നവജീവനുകളെ തെരുവിൽ തള്ളുന്നു, ആൾക്കൂട്ടത്തോടൊപ്പം ചേരുന്നു, ഉരുളങ്കല്ലുകൾ വാരി എറിയുന്നു, ഉരുളങ്കല്ലുകൾ വാരി വാരി എറിയുന്നു. This poem is based on the poverty of people, human beings throwing their intersex children on streets. But this never happens with mammals, fishes, or birds, which are also part of a living world. So thank you everyone.
Thank you so much, Vijay Rajimalika, for enlightening us to another world altogether. Thank you so much. Now we have Eldar Akhadov. He was born in Baku in 1960 and is the author of 60 books of poetry and prose. And now I invite him to recite his poems to us. I think his video is stuck. There is a
Elder
small
is
technical
trying for
problem.
Elder is trying for a long time, and it seems that he has some problem in his internet. So he is here. Though anyone else is there to be invited?
I think he was the last. I
Okay.
don't think we have any more poets.
Uh-huh. So I think we can invite him um, some other day when his internet is good. See, these things have technical problems. Today we felt more technical problems because you know that sometime our net is not working. Though we like this this kind of communication, but sometimes this communication is very disturbing also. So, Elder tried many times. I saw him struggling with the net and entering. Oh, he is trying to enter again, but some problem with his internet. And in Elder, Elder, Elder?
Oh, he's
Yes.
there.
Can
He's
you,
there.
yeah, can you read?
Oh,
Yeah,
hi. He's here.
start
He's on
reading your
time.
poem. Wow, very good.
Please read your poem.
Okay.
Thank you. Just minutes. Dear poet friends, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I ask you to share my joy with me. Today I am holding a textbook of Russian literature for five grade students in my hands. My name is also included in this school textbook. This is a great day for me.
I think he got
Yes,
stuck.
first,
There is indeed a technical problem there.
first poem. Пещера. Покажи мне
Really sorry about it, but
пещеру,
no, there is indeed a technical
которая
problem. Perhaps.
прячут
I think we have to we have to invite him some other day also,
Some other day.
other day,
Yeah.
because today he cannot finish his poetry and he's trying for a long time. So I think we can uh, because we are waiting for another session also, and this is almost 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 7:30 we have another session. We will invite Elder when he has a good internet. Uh, Friends, uh, uh, it is uh, very nice to meet you here, and nice to see you, and listening your different poetry, different language. For example, I know that how difficult for the people from Iran to join such uh, such kind of the platform, but he is able to come and we could enjoy his poetry in Persian, then Bodo language, then Kashmiri, then Hindi and English, and we could enjoy Eldar's poetry also, but unfortunately we could not enjoy it. We had good translation, which is Mita read, and then Vijay Malika is very special poet because she talks to a different gender, and she tells us that what we do not know. So Sri Kala is a very strong Indian poet who writes in English mainly. So she said Vadakam, but in heart she is Tamil. So thanks a lot, all of you. Thank you very much for joining Kritya, and thank you. We will keep this journey on, and thanks to all of you. Come and join other sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.